Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Strong Draws. My name is Brett Strong, and today I am drawing Raven from the Teen Titans. I think it was last week I did Starfire. Was that last week, 2 weeks ago? Whenever the last video was up. I try to get these out to you guys every week, but as it happens, life kind of gets in the way, and it takes me a little bit of while to get these things done, to record, process, and do the voiceovers. It's a lot of fun. I don't get me wrong. I really enjoy doing it. But again, life kind of gets in the way. I'm pretty busy, so I don't get the time to sit and do this as much as I'd like. So anyway, today we're working on Raven from the Teen Titans. Because I did Starfire last week, and I know I figured do Raven as well. I had a couple requests to do Raven. She is one of my favorite characters in all the comic book worlds as well. So real fun to draw. I don't draw her very often, so it's a little, you know, still kind of a learning process. Whenever, excuse me, I find like when I draw, um, whenever I'm drawing a new character or a character I haven't drawn before, it takes me a little bit of time. Excuse me, I got something kind of caught in my throat. Just one sec here, guys. There, I think I better. As I was saying, as when I'm starting to draw a new character or a character I don't draw very often, it doesn't flow as easy. It takes me a little while to figure out who they are, or, kind of I guess what they look like in my style, if you will, or my, as drawn by me. So I look up reference and stuff and kind of get an idea of, who the character is a little bit. I mean, I know who Raven is, and I've seen her in the TV show and read the comics. But it's just trying to capture, especially with Raven, kind of an attitude, I guess. And that's the one thing I always try to. That always probably takes me longer than anything is to capture the essence or the attitude of the character within the drawing. Especially when I don't draw him a lot. Like Superman has a far different attitude and stature and posture than Batman. So when I'm again, I don't draw Raven that often, so this was kind of I mean, it's not perfect. It's still a learning process. I think this sketch turned out all right, but I always find, especially with not even just characters, but new comic books. Whenever I'm working on a new project, the first 2 pages usually take me a lot longer than the rest of the book. And it is mainly because trying to capture who those characters are, the essence of those characters, like I was saying, because they're all different, and I like to try and set an attitude or a visual language with each character, main character at least, not every not background characters much too much, but the main characters, I like them have distinct other than obviously looking different, but the way they move is a little bit different, the way they act, their facial expressions, kind of how they want to, all those little things that make us a little bit different, all those little mannerisms and whatnot that kind of make us individuals. So I try to make each character different, and so whenever I'm drawing somebody new, like I said, like Raven here, it takes me a little bit longer to get a quote-unquote final look, or my look, or whatever you want to call it, just because I'm trying to figure out who that character is, not so much physically as much as their personality or again, their essence. So again, I think this turned out fine, but it's still not, if I was going to draw Teen Titans or draw a book with Raven in it, I would spend a little more time trying to sketching her and trying to figure out, who she is. I guess it sounds kind of weird, but I think that's what helps makes you a better artist, is trying to make each character a little bit different, than the last, so you don't get a cookie cutter um, template of everybody being the same. I think that's what makes comics interesting, and more, and it's more fun than just drawing the same thing over and over again, or the same gestures, the same facial expressions, the same basic face. and that's another thing I've really been trying to mess around with and get, a little more variation in faces and face shape. So anyway, we've moved on to Manga Studio 4EX here. That's what I do. My inking and all the penciling was done in Photoshop CC, and I do work on a Cintiq 12WX. So, excuse me. Again, we're into Manga Studio, and I'm working mostly here for the first good portion of this video, or this part of the inking process is a 0.15 magic marker tool just to get the basic structure lines in. And then I'll move on later, excuse me, to the Maru brush and do line weights and shadows a little bit here and there. Just kind of getting in all the basic structure lines here. And also, like I've talked about this. This is my digital sketchbook that I've created in Manga Studio, because you can create like a book. It's kind of cool. I talked about it in other videos, but kind of the point of doing this was, again, I know I've said this before, but was to sit and draw something when I don't have something, necessarily to draw or time to draw. I'm kind of in between projects at the moment. That's well, that's not entirely true, but I'm supposed to be working on another project. It's kind of, I don't know what's going on with that right now. Everything's kind of at a whole, stall, or is at a standstill. And I'm just trying to figure out. I don't want to dive into another project and then get stopped by this other one. Anyway, that's neither here nor. It's a digital sketchbook. It's supposed to. It's a place for experimentation and just working out stuff and giving me something where I can sit and draw something without having to put too much effort or time into it, kind of thing. So, what I've also been using it for is to help with kind of this, speed, I guess, and using it for experimentation, trying different things with the programs, trying different things with how I draw stuff, and just see kind of what happens, what I like, what I don't like, what sticks. And I'll be, to be completely honest, there's a lot of things that come up that I put out that I don't, necessarily like all the time. But there might be something in that process of working on it that I find, I don't know, kind of sticks or kind of helps or makes me see things in a different way, or so on and so forth. Like after I did this one, and after I started looking at it, I noticed I did something weird with the cape. I'm not really sure I like it, but it was something I tried. Might not do it again, but it let me think about it in a different way, where I might try it differently next time. I might not. And that's kind of the fun of this. This again is supposed to be quick sketching. It's not supposed to be a finished drawing per se. I mean, it gets to a pretty finished point where it looks quote unquote done, I guess. But you can argue forever when's a drawing done. You could always rework it, add more stuff, take away some stuff. I mean, there's a point where you just kind of say it's done. But anyhow, I'm just rambling. So again, this is supposed to help me with speed and just experimentation, and just have some fun. Don't really have to worry too much about is this line perfect? Should I add more shading here? Just experiment, see what sticks, what doesn't. I find with where I generally tend to learn from myself. Not there's the process of doing it teaches you. But I find if I come back a couple days later and look at it, I see things a little bit differently, or I see things that I liked or don't like and want to continue or try again, or don't ever want to ever do again. So, right now, this has been a few days since I've actually drawn this, so I'm kind of watching it and kind of remembering what's going on with it as we're going here. And this was something I thought I'd try. Here you'll see I opened up my actual book there to the side there, because I don't know what I pressed, but everything just went away. And popping that up and jumping between pages fixed it. So I don't know what it was. It was really weird. But anyway, this is something I found is like usually I'll do this stuff in that grayish blue color, and then I can add and subtract and stuff, add whites or more black. What will eventually be a black color rather than the blue that I usually use. And I thought I'd just try using just black this time. And I think I kind of overworked it a bit. Um, there's a fine line between looking cool and then overworking. And I think I overworked this her leather here a little too much. But again, that's kind of the point of this, is to see to go and do and try and see what sticks, what doesn't, what you like, what you don't like. I personally, I didn't actually zoom out so you could see the whole figure at that point, but I kind of liked it before I started adding the more majesty lines. So maybe next time I'll go a little simpler. That's another thing I've been finding is like going, the simplicity of a lot of these comic book artists, the professionals out there these days is really kind of starting to grow on me. Um, Even though I technically should have been a 90s uh, comics kid, were no comics around me in the 90s. They just weren't available where I grew up. So I didn't. I appreciated like the first Jim Lee stuff I ever saw was on Hush, and it did blow me away. I thought it was really different from any comic book art that I had seen up until that point. I think the first actual comic book I bought with my own. It sounds weird because I was like 18 at the time, but I bought with my own money was when I got to college, and that was Spider-Man. I don't even remember what issue number it was, but it was in the one in the middle of John Romita Jr.'s run, and again, that was a whole new level of artwork that I've never seen before. And I know there are people that hate John Romita Jr., but I think it's great, the simplicity of what he does. But then I saw again, the Jim Lee stuff and all the cross hatching and the big image, and the Mark Silvestris and Todd McFarlane's and all the tick marks and the cross hatching, and it was pretty cool. And I'm still a fan. I just the guys today like Ryan Otley or Todd Dock, those guys really I just dig is the simplicity of it, and something I'm kind of working a little more towards. I don't really find myself enjoying. I like doing cross hatching, but I don't know if it necessarily adds anything, at least to my work. There's some guys like David Finch. I think his work is just beautiful, and he does all those tick marks and cross hatching and dark blacks, and it looks amazing. Again, just for my work, I don't think it worked. It's not. I don't think it really adds anything, or maybe it would. I don't know. I personally just don't like what it looks like when I get all the cross hatching, and I do a little bit here and there, but that's more for shape and volume and what have you. So. I got off on a little tangent there. I'm not even sure if I got to the point or if I had a point, but just adding, I guess, the point of that was just more simplicity. Just trying to find that line between too much, not enough. Again, not overworking the piece necessarily. So we're almost done here. I think got a few minutes left. Just gonna add a few more blacks in here. And you're gonna see me add some hatching to this cape. So again, guys, thanks for watching. Again, we got a couple minutes left here. Just gonna add a little bit of a background element here. You can check me out on Facebook and Twitter. All the links are in the description box below. You can see the full res version of this drawing and others, and follow me there. I do got like I said, I do got a project coming up. I got a couple more commissions kind of coming down the pipe that I'm gonna try and get done. I'm actually gonna get to work on one as soon as I'm done recording this. I got a couple big canvases I'm supposed to start working on, doing some artwork on. Just should be pretty cool, I hope. One's gonna be of Jack the Ripper, and then one's gonna be based off of a poem I wrote years ago that was actually one of the few I've ever written, and probably one of my favorites. So, again, that'll all be on my Facebook and my Twitter if you guys want to follow along and see what happens there. Obviously, it's going to be it's not going to be digital. It's going to be obviously all hand drawn on canvas, which I might try and set up a camera for that. We'll see what happens. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Just going to add a little halo of white around here to pop her off that black background. Again, I'm going to try and keep getting these out at least once a week, maybe a couple. Try to get a couple out this week. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. Again, life kind of just gets in the way, and that's not necessarily always a terrible thing. So, anyway, I want to say thank you all for watching. Again, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Deviant. All the links are in the description box below. So, again, thanks for watching, and we will see you guys next time. And we'll have a quick pop-up of the final artwork at the end here. So, again, thanks, guys. Have a good night. Bye.